The Brett Favre saga continues, and I hope it continues until he finally gets what he deserves. But this time we're going to be talking about someone, of course, connected to Brett Favre. And if you watch Lisa Caber's channel, you probably already are aware of what it is I'm about to talk about. But because I'm staying on top of the story every step of the way, I have to throw my 2 cents in it as well. So this person's name is Jacob Vanlandingham. And he is the founder, and I'm going to put that in quotations, of Prevacus, that so-called drug company that Brett Favre had his name attached to. And now it just came out that this Jacob Vanlandingham has pled guilty in a role he played in with the Mississippi welfare fraud scandal case, however you want to put it. Apparently, from wire fraud. Oh, it's getting even more and more interesting. He pled guilty to this as well, so he's admitting to guilt. This is why Brett Favre wants this to go away, because he's not necessarily he's worried about himself, but he's also worried about the people that's around him getting discovered. And the thing is, I think what they're doing, they're working from the outside in instead of from the inside out. Let's not necessarily go directly after Brett Favre. Let's go after all of the people that were connected to him, get them. That way we have a solid case, so when we finally do go after him, there's no way he can try to claw his way out of it. So I'm going to read this article that's coming from ESPN that was posted on July 24th, 2024. Brett Favre's former business associate pleaded guilty to wire fraud in federal court on Wednesday, admitting that he used Mississippi welfare money his company received for concussion research to pay off gambling and other debts, according to court filings. Biomedical researcher Jacob Vanlandingham pleaded guilty in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Mississippi to one count of wire fraud for using $1.9 million that his company Prevacus received in government funds to unlawfully enrich himself, according to the filings. Wire fraud carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. He was released on bond. Vanlandingham's lawyer, Thomas Marshall Finley, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Vanlandingham previously told ESPN in a 2022 interview, "I had no idea that this was welfare money, and I've always been an upstanding person when it comes to research." Now, he's pleading guilty because he most likely was offered a plea deal of some sort. Now he's saying that in 2022 he had no idea that this was welfare money. He's basically trying to get himself off the hook, while at the same time he's going to end up throwing Brett Favre under the bus. Document shows that Favre invested more than $800,000 of his own money in Prevacus and lobbied government officials, including former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant, for funding the company. Favre was the top investor in Prevacus, according to a civil lawsuit filed by the state in May of 2022 against Favre, Vanlandingham, and Prevacus, amongst others. The state's lawsuit seeks to recoup misappropriated funds in what is the largest case of public fraud in state history. At least $77 million in temporary assistance for needy families funds earmarked for poor families were misspent, according to a Mississippi state audit. 8 people have been indicted, 6 of whom have pled guilty for their involvement, including Mississippi former welfare director and the head of nonprofit organization. Favre, a Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback who played in the NFL for 20 seasons, has not been criminally charged and has denied wrongdoing. A spokesperson for Favre did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Favre remains a defendant in the civil lawsuit. At the heart of the dispute is a volleyball facility built in 2019 at his alma mater, the University of Southern Mississippi. Text messages made public in legal filings show he pushed state officials for funding during the time his daughter was on the team. The university's athletic foundation received $5 million in welfare funds. Favre donated $1.4 million of his own money to construct the facility. So there's that right there. So this is the latest update to come from this whole situation. I'm telling you, like I said, I believe now they're working on the outside in. They're going after the people that was around him and seeing what was going on. So this guy right here was committing wire fraud to funnel money into his company from the same people that Brett Favre was using to take money to build that volleyball facility and for those so-called speaking engagements. And I say so-called because he never actually gave them. He was just pocketing the money. And this guy was doing the same thing with the same organization for his own personal benefits. And that's why they brought up Prevacus, because I was like, Prevacus, that's the same company that Brett Favre was linked to. Like I said, it's just one big circle. It's one big endless cycle. But what needs to really happen now is they need to just go ahead and charge Brett Favre, because they have enough dirt on him, in my honest opinion, that dates back years before they actually can actually finally hit him with something. I think, in my opinion, they have enough. I don't know what the holdup is or what the holdout is or whatever the case may be, but they need to go and get him now, in my honest opinion. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. There's a lot of people that feel that Brett Favre should have been arrested. He should have been criminally charged. He's still floating out here just doing whatever he wants. Of course, he has to be real careful now because he's under a hefty microscope. But going back to what I said at the beginning, the reason why he wants us to go away is because you see how they're going after people that are linked to him and this scandal. And see, if he can make it go away on his end, he could at the very least get himself out the way. Everyone else is probably like every man or woman for themselves. It's like a dog-eat-dog type of thing. But as long as he's attached to it, he can't wiggle his way out of it. This is probably a nightmare for him, in which I could care less. He knew what he was doing was wrong, and he decided to do it anyway. Just like this guy here. But what did I tell y'all before in previous videos? Greed, in my opinion, is one of the deadliest of the deadly sins. Like, when you don't have much, you're always going to want to acquire. And when you do have, like Brett Favre and this guy, you always want more and will go by any means in order to acquire it.